The Magic led the NBA with 21 games holding opponents below 100 points. Unfortunately, also led the NBA with 25 games scoring less than 100 points. Or 28 games.
Wow,
scoring.
really? Yeah.
So we were like, yeah, they might actually hold the Celtics below 100 points. And I was like, yeah, and then they'll lose by 12, 98-86 or something like that. We almost got that game.
Mm-hmm. We did almost get that game. But did you notice how aggressive? Like, I can understand the whole, like, over a quarter of their games, they kept opponents under 100 points, which in the modern three-for-all NBA is pretty miraculous. They're quick to the ball, and they're chippy. Not chippy as in, like, oh, this team's annoying, but, like, they're very, that's a very hands-on approach.
Bill Belichick would be proud. The 2003 and 04 Patriots would have been proud. Like, they can't call everything a penalty. That's what I felt yesterday. They can't blow every whistle for a foul. They were handsy. It was like every replay showed an arm, a hook, an elbow, like a bump or something. And
good for them. I like that style. That's basketball.
Absolutely. And I think in one of his mic'd up, because my guy JB, Jaylen Brown, playoff Jaylen Brown is a little bit like playoff Julian Edelman. Apparently that comes with a microphone attached because JB gets back in the lineup and you immediately have him talking. And I love it. I love listening to him. But he said something about like kind of, I love it. They're coming physical and we got to meet it or something. I do think maybe they were taken a little bit off guard early on with the physicality that A, the Magic were bringing, and B, the refs were allowing. And it was like, okay, this is, again, as you like to say, crossing sports. You got to play the game the way it's being called. Do business as business is being done. It was clear this is playoff basketball. They're going to swallow the whistles a little bit, and not every bump or grab is going to be called. And then I thought the Celtics figured it out. But absolutely give the Magic credit for being an aggressive, physical, not overly talented, in my opinion, basketball team, other than Banchero, who is going to be a top 5 player very soon in the NBA, in my opinion. They were hitting threes. Great. Everything was going the Magic way, I thought, early. They were hitting more threes than they normally do. Like, the Celtics weren't necessarily shooting well. Like, they were, and it was one of those games where I was very comfortable at halftime, even though you were in a dogfight. I think they were a 13.5-point favorite, and you're down a point at halftime, and I was like, I'm fine with this. The Magic are not going to keep shooting the way they're shooting right now, and the Celtics are going to get hot at some point, and they did, and it played out that way. Now, Derek White, I don't know if most people thought this would be the Banchero-White 30-30 night back and forth for those two guys, but this is the beauty, the one downside, and I almost used this as my three-point stance, but I didn't, Fitzy, because we've talked about, we have
duly noted.
Ted likes to take Thunder. Thunder likes to take victory laps around here, but I'm not afraid to take a loser lap. When I'm wrong, I'm not afraid to take a loser lap because I'm a loser and I need a lap.
Didn't know this was possible.
Yeah, it is.
I was told Andy Hart was always right.
Well, I usually am right. And I may still be right. I'll let you know.
I've heard about greatness walks alone. Stuff being
it's
right.
True.
Blah,
it's
blah, blah.
All of that. I'm glad you guys are listening. I appreciate that.
Well, we're listening, and then we say things when you're not there.
But last week I said Jayson Tatum is going to be the best player in the NBA playoffs. He's going to take.
Well, so far you've been wrong.
No, so far he looks like the usual Jayson Tatum. That's exactly my point. He looks like the regular playoff Jayson Tatum, where not shooting well early, and then kind of fluffs up his numbers with some meaningless points late when the game has already been decided after he hurt his wrist. So it was weird because I was thinking Jaylen Brown not going to be all that good. Jayson Tatum's going to be much better. And from what I saw yesterday in Game 1, Tatum might still be the same old Tatum who puts up fake numbers but isn't going to drive the bus anywhere. And Jaylen Brown may be ready or more ready than I thought he was going to be. And I've always had confidence in the other guys to fill their role. Did you hear Derek White was talking about, I'd love to know that, every night I'm going to get 18 shots and score 30 points and be that, but I know that's not how it works for this team.
But he can't. No, it's not how it works for that team. But, like, the best thing about Derek White is that he can. Like, if you have to tap him on the shoulder, and just sort of tell him, like, hey, we have to activate, it's a Derek White night, he can do that. Again, you always get the tenacious defense. You always get the clutch playmaking. And if you need him to hit a big shot and play some solid defense against another team's best guy, he's game. He's up for the challenge. No wonder why. I've said this a million times. I'll say it a million more times. No wonder why Brad Stevens loved those Spurs teams and lusted after this guy. And holy smokes, is this starting to look like one of the greatest trades in Celtics history? Romeo Langford, somebody else in a bag of balls, and a couple of 99 gift cards for Derek White. My God, what an absolute steal! And as far as Tatum goes, yeah, it was one of those games. Someone's going to go like, "Oh yeah, he only had 17, but he had almost had a triple double. He had 14 rebounds and some. You couldn't really qualify all the things he did. Like he just didn't have it right off the top. Peyton Pritchard easily outscored him last night.
Well, and Pritchard looked good too,
which is good. We need. See, he might start becoming a little bit even more of a local legend, like which he did this year. But if he's going to be clutch and hitting logo threes and bombs in the playoffs again, all the power to him. But there's no denying that Paolo Banchero was the best player on the court yesterday.
Absolutely. But from a Celtics perspective, Dan Ball, one of your other dork stats that you stole directly from Terp was, I believe, something about Peyton Pritchard's worst games of the year came against the Magic.
Yeah, in his 3 regular season games, he went 0 for 1 for and 1 for from beyond the arc.
Yeah, he had 1-3 and basically couldn't hit the broadside of a barn against the Magic. Yesterday, he's out there 4 of 6 from three-point land doing his usual thing. Now, this is great that we're talking about Peyton Pritchard and Derek White and Drew Holiday on the defensive end of the floor and all of those things. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're going to win the NBA title if most games Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are a combined 1 of 10 from three-point land, right?
Probably not.
That's not sustainable, but the beauty is if you're not as deep and as versatile as the Celtics are, you're down 0-1. And you have to claw, you'll still probably win the series, but you'll have to work a little harder. You're playing catch up in the series. They're so good that they're 2 superstars, and they are superstars, right? They've been anointed as such, weren't great, and you kind of you emptied the bench. I got to see, J.D. Davidson and whoever the hell else in the fourth quarter. They emptied the bench.
For the last 2 minutes and 17 seconds.
I don't care. You emptied the bench, and you
stay ready against them. Yeah.
And so I thought this was a fun game to watch because I don't know if you do this. There's always that little bit of the transitional period. Everybody says, playoff basketball, playoff hockey, playoff football. It changes the speed, the officiating. And then you watch the first or second game, and you're like, yeah, it really does. Really is a different game in the postseason. They really do care more, and the game is played a little differently. And I know this is a different matchup, but there was a little bit of that for me, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun postseason for the Celtics. This is going to be a fun
the Magic
road.
Are also going to end up being a good warm-up, a good test to get the Celtics
that was disrespectful.
Back. It sure was, and I don't feel bad about it.
You just called the Magic a warm-up.
They are.
Well, what else
They're
did
an
you call
appetizer.
them? What else did you call them? Seriously.
An 8 seed. I mean, a 7 seed.
Yeah,
whatever the hell
they're a 7 seed. When you have 2
warm-up is a little disrespectful.
What are you worried about? Contavious Caldwell-Pope coming out and dropping 30 on the Celtics one night? Is he going to turn into the next Gabe Vincent or whoever the hell the other guy was that would always be a thorn in their side from the Heat? I don't full well expect that. Banchero can go for 40. Wagner can go for 28. And you're still going to need 8 other guys to try to cobble together 30 points. Whereas it hasn't been a Tatum night yet, hasn't been a Brown night. Porzingis didn't even have to do that much. The depth of the Celtics is going to be a problem all the way through. And I think it's nice that you're going to have a team that's going to play them physically on defense to kind of warm the Celtics up and get ready, because then the Knickerbockers and everyone else are going to be that much more aggressive.
It's funny you called them a warm-up, and Dan got a little what else are you going to call them? I did think in the middle of this game, the thing that flashed into my head was he doesn't think it's an exhibition. He thinks it's a damn fight. That's how I was thinking of the Magic, and I thought even pregame, Jaylen Brown talked about that. He had that comment about the real Magic's on this side or something. They ain't no Harry Potter here or something. He was being, I wouldn't say dismissive, but looking down upon them a little bit. And then you get out there and it's oh yeah, they are professionals, and that Banchero guy's pretty good. And they had him mic'd up late in the game. Did you see that with his assistant coach? Kind of,
yeah.
You were built for this, and you're doing it right. And they're an ascending team with an ascending star. I agree with you on that. And they're going to give the good fight. But I think sometimes you're down 0-1 before you realize, oh, shoot, he doesn't think it's an exhibition. He thinks it's a damn fight. You were able to get out the other side of this one with a pretty easy victory